The Diddy trial is starting to begin, and now the judge is trying to figure out which jury can be trusted with delivering justice to all the vulnerable people that Diddy had taken advantage of.
I'm a little nervous today, Diddy told the judge while asking for a brief break.
Lady Gaga had one of the most amazing moments of her career, but unfortunately, it was accompanied by fear and potential tragedy. James Charles is losing millions of followers a day after he decided to hook up with one of his friend's ex-boyfriend after learning about his destructive behavior.
I'm in shock right now, and I'm really gonna watch the people I trust.
Kanye West is suing the dentist he claims turned him into the monster we're dealing with on the daily. But is it really the dentist's fault that Kanye is a mess, or is it his fault?
There is a non-zero chance that permanent brain damage has been done to that mind.
Walton Gogggins refuses to speak about Amy Lou Wood, and tension over at the White Lotus has finally boiled over.
And in that moment, interview over. His publicist said, "We're gonna end it right here."
Let's get into it. Let's get into Diddy. Did you guys know that Diddy was actually presented with a plea deal but decided not to take it? We can't really assess if this was a good move or not, but we do know that if Diddy was convicted of all of these charges, the plea deal would have been less prison time than these charges will be. So Diddy is willing to go and risk it. And I'm not saying if it was a good choice or not for Diddy's side. I mean, technically I'm not. I can't even imagine being on their side right now trying to deal with this. I mean, A$AP Rocky, he said no to a plea deal, and then he ended up winning his case. Granted, his court hearing was much different than Diddy's is. I mean, his old friend said that he had shot him in the hand, and A$AP said he did not, and he was proven not guilty. But Diddy was seen in court on Thursday, and he was seen smiling and in good spirits. He has pled not guilty to all 5 charges he's facing: 2 counts of trafficking, 2 counts of transportation to do inappropriate things, and another count of racketeering. So trial is coming, and we need people to sit in that courtroom and help make a decision. So we need the jury. I mean, I have no idea how they are finding a jury to go and join this trial, because everyone knows about this case, right? I mean, comment below. Do you know anyone in your life, like a grandparent, an uncle, who would have literally no idea that this is going on? And I don't think they have to have no idea what's going on. They can have an idea, they just can't have an opinion. Let's be real, we've all made excuses to avoid the doctor. I'm too busy, it'll go away on its own, or I don't even know who to book with. But with ZocDoc, there's no reason to keep putting it off. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare in-network doctors across every specialty, from therapists to dentists, primary care to urgent care, and book appointments instantly. Stop putting off those doctor appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/Sloan to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/Sloan. ZocDoc.com/Sloan. The judge hinted to the size of the potential jury pool and the length of the questionnaire each individual has to fill out. Judge Aaron made a remark comparing the size of the list of prospective jurors that both sides will question on the stand and the questionnaire of the people and places in the case. Jury selection is expected to take several days. Diddy himself arrived at the courthouse full of gray hair and a gray beard. Oh wow, wearing formal clothing. I do think prison unfortunately ages you really quickly. Like, girlies out there, don't go to jail, don't go to prison, you'll age quick. And it's sad. I mean, is it sad? I mean, they committed the crime, so yeah, they should be in jail. But I mean, some of our prison systems, the way they are locking them up, the dogs are locked up better than some of these people are. Now, another interesting part of this case is that none of the jury will be sequestered. So they can go home every day, but they can't talk about the case, which scares me, because imagine if I mean, this sounds like a movie, but imagine one of the jury members clearly was going to vote against Diddy, and then they went home one day and something bad happened to them and it conveniently helped out this case. I don't know. That scares me. I almost would want them to put me in a hotel with security, please, but this is going to be a long trial and people can't leave their lives that quickly.
The first day of jury selection has concluded in Sean Diddy Combs' and racketeering conspiracy trial. So far, 19 jurors have been qualified. The magic number here is 45, because once the panel reaches that number, the prosecutions and Combs' defense lawyers will use their strikes to get this group down to 12 jurors and a number of alternates. Here's what we know about those who have qualified so far. 2 women have said that they have been assaulted decades ago in the past. They were allowed to continue on. And another woman who said that she had once been arrested for shoplifting for stealing a wand from Harry Potter's world at Universal Studios, also in that panel. Several jurors were dismissed, including one who had seen that hotel surveillance video. She had called it damning evidence, and for that reason, the judge had excused her from the panel.
There's nothing physically stopping the Diddy jurors from going home and watching the news, but in the questionnaire, they ask the jury to avoid all media coverage and to not go on the internet or social media in regard to this case. And of course, you can't talk to anyone about it, co-workers, friends, family. And, I would be the worst jury, because how do you not tell anybody? Like, I would at least have to tell, like, my boyfriend, right? Comment below, do you think you could actually not tell anyone? Because I couldn't do it. I'm a talker. That's why I'm over here doing this. Now, I have a fear that when we get into that courtroom and Diddy's lawyers start opening up their, in my opinion, lying mouths, we're going to hear this excuse that Diddy, he lacked the mental capacity to commit these crimes. Really? It's almost like saying, like, this isn't the case, but like he has dementia. He didn't know what he was doing, or he's so manic in the mind that he can't be held responsible because he was just mentally ill. If you are mentally incapacitated, you're not running a corporation with really intricate ways to trap and harm people. The feds who are suing Diddy think that this is a waste of time, but Diddy's team even has the doctor lined up ready to testify on oath. He's a Columbia professor, and honestly, it seems like he is just trying to get clout, in my opinion. Like, why insert yourself here? He wants to testify for Diddy, saying the mental condition bearing on the issue of guilt. So I guess he has no capacity of feeling guilt? Is that what we're dealing with here? That sounds even more evil. I'm just kidding. They're talking in respect to the actual decision, like guilty or not guilty. The detail of his condition is redacted throughout the documents, but there are some clues, including a bit about Diddy's drinking and drugging. So essentially he's saying that he drank too much and did too many drugs, that it's affected his memory or his cognitive function. The doctor is going to potentially testify that this is evidence that Diddy, using these drugs and drinking, he just wasn't able to control his behavior. No one could do that in that kind of state. What's interesting is that the federal indictment accuses Diddy of drugging his victims into compliance with the freak-offs, but now it's a question of whether Diddy himself was a victim in his own freak-offs. How many times have you pushed off going to the doctor because it felt like too much? I'm too busy, it's probably nothing, or I don't know who to go to. Booking a doctor shouldn't feel that hard, and with ZocDoc, it doesn't. ZocDoc is a free app and website that helps you find and book in-network doctors with real-time availability. Whether it's mental health, dental care, dermatology, or just a routine checkup, you can find someone near you who takes your insurance and is highly rated by verified patients. Once you found the right fit, you can instantly book a time that works for your schedule. No calling, no waiting list, no guessing, and most appointments happen within just 24 to 72 hours, sometimes same day. There's no need to settle for doctors who don't listen, who are too far away, or don't align with your schedule. ZocDoc gives you options and fast. Stop putting off those doctor appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/Sloan to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/Sloan. ZocDoc.com/Sloan. Let's get into Lady Gaga. Now, Lady Gaga had one of the most amazing performances to 2.5 million people. I can't even imagine. I can't imagine. My chest is starting to tighten up right now. 2.5 million on a beach. People were climbing the trees. I will stay home. But shout out to everyone in Brazil who got to go and enjoy this free Lady Gaga concert. And thank God everyone is okay, because 2 out of that 2.5 million were arrested in connection to alleged bomb threat at Lady Gaga's concert. A man and a teenager were arrested before the singer's concert began over an alleged plot to target the LGBT community in Brazil with explosives, which I've never been to Brazil. I would love to, but I also don't know if it's safe for people who are LGBT. So I try to avoid anywhere that's not like safe for that because I'm not trying to be unalive. Now, Lady Gaga had no idea that this was going down, which is probably good for her because it kept her like, you know, her mind clear, especially before that kind of show. Gaga performed to the biggest crowd to date, 2.5 million people who showed up on the beach. My question is, how are the people on the ocean side? Like, is there a little bit of a wall between the ocean? Because it looks like it goes right up to the sand. And I was like, I'm sure there's people determined enough that they'll be standing in the ocean just to watch her. And look at that crowd. Yeah, okay, so they must have like maybe barriers over by the ocean because I don't see anyone swimming. But this is special. Aw. The pair were arrested after trying to recruit other people at the concert to carry out the coordinated attacks with homemade not the homemade You guys are too determined. Like, you need to go care about something else. Go care about yourself. Because, like, to go and make some homemade explosives to go take to Lady Gaga's concert, like, you need a hobby. Touch some grass. The leader of the group was arrested on illegal weapons possession charges and inappropriate. We're going to blur this screenshot, but let's say he just has imagery and things of people who are underage. Yeah, we'll stop it there. Underage. Okay. I'm not trying to get this video in trouble. Let's get into James Charles. Now, honestly, sisters, I did not anticipate talking about Sister James here, but I just have to because I know way too much about the situation involving Kayla Malik, who she's a TikToker influencer. She's got several million on all the platforms. She had a relationship with this guy, Evan Johnson, who did some really horrible things to her. I'm talking beating her up, like I believe like almost broke her jaw. A terribly harmful man. Kayla told her friend James Charles about this, and as soon as he learned that they were no longer an item, he started paying for Evan to go fly out to LA to go and sleep with him because James Charles has a type: straight, tall, skinny, white, maybe a little muscle. Actually, no, he likes him skinny because he likes him young. And Evan is really young. I mean, not really young. He's not a minor, but he's, you know, still like a kid. He's like 21 years old, and James Charles preyed on him despite knowing that he was harmful to Kayla. Now, recently, Zach Sellers, one of Evan's friends, did an interview with Be Better, and during this interview, he pretty much exposed the relationship that Evan had with James Charles, which looked to be inappropriate, you know, if you know what I mean. Like, it was sexual.
Earlier this month, this account, which is run by Zach, a friend of Evan's, was dropping receipts as to what Evan had been saying about Kayla. Zach posted a ton of videos with Evan downplaying everything and saying that Kayla was basically exaggerating. He is now the keeper of all Evan's secrets, which he is airing out, including name dropping that James Charles had a relationship with Evan and allegedly they were sleeping together. He's not able to talk about the situation between Kayla and Evan because obviously it's going to court, but he does get into everything else, especially the James Charles drama.
Evan is currently dealing with legal charges because of what he had put Kayla through. Thank God the justice system is actually working for once, but we still are waiting for the court date to come about. I think it will be within the next week, from according to Kayla's like TikTok. She's so ready to speak, but she can't yet until after court. This report writes that on April 30th, 2025, Michaela posted a video alleging that James Charles is sleeping with Evan Johnson, saying the one that broke Kayla Malik's jaw. Now that video went viral with over 24 million views. As I mentioned earlier, Be Better Company, which is a honey company who loves to get into the drama, you know, I appreciate it. He did an interview with Evan's friend Zach, and this is where we got some of the dirty details, probably the worst of them all.
They were in communication every single day. The only person he had after losing Kayla that he felt that he would be able to stay in the industry was James Charles. So he had to keep James Charles as close to him as possible.
To go from Kayla to James is crazy. Hi, sisters.
But back to the next car time, there was a message back that James had sent to Evan and says, I have a big surprise for you when you get home. We get back, and little did James know that I actually went home with Evan. And when we get to Evan's house and in his room, Evan message him. They were messaging the whole time anyways.
Oh, weird. So they were all hanging out, and then they get home, and James is kind of under the impression that Evan is alone.
And he lets James know, he's like, hey, I'm like 5 minutes away from home. Okay, so letting James know, get ready and stuff. Evan takes a picture of himself and is like, obviously him in his room. And the next picture was James bent over on his bed with his ass up in the air. There was one time that...
Oh, he was like, is that down dog? He was down dogging it.
Evan was driving and he's like, Zach, can you text James back? And the message I had to send back to James was, I can't wait to see you. But James was very, very serious. James started the friendship as, I'm here for you. I've been through the same kind of things. Like
that is the worst part, because if he entered this friendship situationship with Evan under the pretense of like, oh, you're a victim here. Like, and I've been victimized too. Let me help you. It just shows you that he did understand what Evan had done to Kayla, and he's
to give you advice. Listen to me.
There were some initial messages which we can put on the screen. James said, "Hello, I'm just now seeing these. I'm absolutely not on his side and would really, really appreciate it if you would leave me out of this. I only ever spoke to him because he manipulated me into thinking his situation was similar to what I went through." And he says, "It was a really personal and sensitive topic that I had empathy for. I felt disgusting and awful, and I've stopped responding to him altogether." And from speaking to Kayla, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, there was a situation where James Charles had wanted Evan Johnson and Kayla Malik to do a promotional material for his painted company for Valentine's Day. That's obviously a little bit creepy, because knowing that the entire time he was interacting with them, he wanted Kayla out of the picture, and he's really the one that wanted Evan. James had reached out to Kayla and said something along the lines of, "Are we still good to do this Valentine's Day project?"
That is interesting to have like a straight friend, a straight girlfriend, and then try to plot to mentally prepare yourself for one day, like, you know,
and Kayla said,
pouncing on
so
him.
Funny, actually, we literally just broke up yesterday. Evan did some of the worst things a human being could ever do to someone to me. Abused me, explained the situation, and then James said,
Came back after she said that and was like, "Can I have him now?"
Now, because Zach went all the way up to Canada to do an interview with Be Better and to expose everything, he's feeling a little bit of the pressures. I mean, James Charles has an empire. Like, he's got money. So if you're going to talk about him, be prepared to talk to him and his team.
My modeling agency received a crazy, insane email. Let's just say this email is from James Charles's team. They are now going after my career that I have worked so hard for just because I am speaking the absolute truth. They are now trying to silence me completely. They do not want me to speak another word about the situation. So it said, "Apologies for the Friday evening email. My firm represents James Charles Dickinson, and I would love to have a frank discussion with you at your earliest convenience regarding your client, Zach Sellers." Is this not insane to you guys? James, what are you doing, bro? Like, you know what you did, and you know what I'm doing is speaking facts.
Let's get into Nick Cannon. Now, I've never heard of anyone insuring their testicles, but it turns out that Nick Cannon has. This report claims that we all know Nick has 12 kids, 2 that are Mariah Carey's, and he confirmed that he has insured his well-traveled balls for $10 million, $5 million apiece. Ouch. I know insuring them doesn't like do anything to them, but like it makes me think about like, why would you need to insure them? Like, what would happen to your ball?
You took out a $10 million insurance policy on your
testicles.
Balls.
They were like, yo, a lot of celebrity women are insuring their legs in case something goes wrong.
Heidi Klum.
Yeah. And they were like, well, what's your most valuable asset, Nick? My ball.
Insure them.
I got the insurance policy in my office. It's like, it's
So
legit.
how do you call in that insurance claim? Like, what happens?
We actually went back and forth with this because it's like, all right, it's $5 million per testicle.
It's so weird. It's like, it's almost like manifesting an accident to them, and I can't. It's making me black out think about it.
And like, if I happen to lose one, you know, all the money goes to my kids.
One of Nick Cannon's baby mamas is actually grateful he insured his balls for $10 million, because if he's not going to show up, at least his junk might finally do something useful. Alyssa Scott is throwing shade with a smile on her IG stories after revealing that Nick hasn't seen their daughter in over a month. So if anything happens to his balls now, at least their child would get a payout. Interesting to see one of the baby mamas speak out, because Nick has always been like so prideful about how he's a father to all of his kids and all the baby mamas are so happy, but that's not the case. She wrote on her Instagram story, "Ha ha ha, funny. Any plans on seeing your child? It's been over a month, Nick Cannon, but good to know that she'll get some of your money if anything happens to your balls." Of course, Alyssa's tone was dripping in sarcasm, and it sounds like things have gotten strained between them. But honestly, I'm not surprised with all these different women and all these different children. I mean, Nick Cannon is aging himself so quickly. It reminds me of like when President Obama went into office and then when he left office, like every time a president enters office, they just like, it takes a lot out of you. And it looks like Nick Cannon he's aging up quickly.
How much free time did you think Nick Cannon was going to have for his first 11 children before you gave him his 12th? Now, Nick Cannon's 12th baby mother, who goes by the name of Alyssa Scott, had taken to social media after he had a post that went viral. I don't know what hoodoo Nick Cannon had to convince 12 women to give him children, but for the women, did you all not realize he would not have enough time to spend with 12 children?
This comment reads, "Girl, he's got 50 kids. Why would you think that he was going to spend all of his time with yours?" Nick also made it clear that he's going to let the Lord decide whether there's more little cannons in the pipeline. It's like he's trying to Elon Musk the world, just populate the whole generation of his own children. Let's get into Kanye West. Now, I know I've been talking about this dentist for a while, and it turns out Kanye's going to sue this man, the man who's been pumping up Kanye with this nitrous oxide. Kanye is gearing up to sue his former dentist, claiming he's suffering injuries and financial damages due to the reckless administration of nitrous oxide. I mean, Kanye was requesting this drug over and over again. I mean, this guy should not have been giving it to him, but still, Kanye wanted it.
He was given nitrous oxide after a dental visit, and then his doctors continued providing it and charging him 50 grand a month under the guise of medical care or dental care, and he got addicted. And they were saying that it caused neurological problems, and that's why Kanye's been acting strange and saying strange things.
Kanye's team is claiming that while he was under Dr. Conley's care, the dentist engaged in numerous inappropriate and dangerous practices that were outside the bounds of any legitimate medical purpose or standard of care. He's also claiming the dentist encouraged unsupervised self-administration of the gas and continuing the treatment despite adverse neurological and behavioral signs. He also claims the dentist essentially abandoned Kanye, withdrawing his care abruptly without proper transition when he saw the negative consequences of Kanye's dependency. Milo is one of Kanye's outspoken employees, or I guess ex-employees, and he's constantly speaking about Kanye's well-being, and here's his take on Kanye's addiction to the nitrous oxide.
There is a non-zero chance that permanent brain damage has been done to that mind from this nitrous use.
Nitrous when I was at Donda. Yeah. I didn't even realize how long I had been doing nitrous, but now it definitely has affected my memory. But the funny thing is,
now what form that takes, I don't know. I'm not saying gonna make worse shoes, but maybe it's memory, maybe it's names recognition, maybe it's fatigue. I don't know, right?
God can use my memory, but that's not what he needs. He needs my channel. He needs you. He needs you. What are you two gentlemen's name again?
This person wrote, "It's scary because this makes the most sense out of anything I've heard." Now, the dentist has responded saying these allegations are not only factually incorrect, but also intentionally misleading. He is a celebrity dentist, so I'm sure he's got some money, and we'll have to see this go down in court, because I'm sure he would not want to lose his license over Kanye West. Let's get into Demi Lovato. It looks like Demi Lovato is going to be cool for the summer because she's been popping up all over my Instagram and TikTok feed. And it looks like there are some rumors that she may be on the Ozempic, which honestly, who isn't, right? At this point, they're going to start selling them in vending machines, on the streets. Demi reignited the Ozempic speculation from fans with new photos debuting her dramatic weight loss. So many people are actually loving this new era of Demi. One person wrote the Ozempic is Ozempicing Hunty. Another person pointed out, though, no one's going to mention mentioned the Photoshop face. I love her. She's naturally pretty, so why the Photoshop? And a lot of other people didn't like the editing either. Please stop retouching your face. You're so beautiful. Whoa, she doesn't even look like herself anymore. Another person wrote, that's not even Demi, is it? Honestly, I feel like Demi is happy and healthy, and I've seen her pop up all over TikTok, and I think she's slowly working her way back. I mean, we need someone to save the summer, so if she could drop a great album, I would be thankful. Let's get into Walton Gogggins. Now, White Lotus star Walton has been going through it over this feud that he has with Amy Lou Wood, his partner within the show and the series. Walton did an interview recently where he was being asked over and over again about Amy, and he said, I am not going to have that conversation. He also had his publicist there saying, we're not going to go there. Thank you. Anytime this reporter asked about Amy Lou.
In a new interview with The Times, he was asked about unfollowing his White Lotus co-star, Amy Lou Wood, which his response was, I'm not going to have that conversation. Then two publicists jumped in and said, we're not going there. Thank you. Next question. Then the reporter brought up that Walton Gogggins is hosting Saturday Night Live on May 10th, just weeks after the White Lotus SNL sketch fiasco where Amy called it mean and unfunny. Once again, Walton said there's no conversation to be had about that. He said sharing politics on social media, it's in a vacuum. The reporter kept pushing it, asked a third time, and this is when Walton Gogggins had it. He said, what the word that I can't say on the internet? Come on, buddy. Wow. And in that moment, interview over. His publicist said, we're going to end it right here.
Now, I have a theory that there was an affair between these two when they were working on White Lotus. This comment reads, it screams he cheated in order to keep his wife. He has to cut her off. Understandably. Another person added, it's a definite yikes. Seems that the speculation is on point. Where there's smoke, there's fire, you know? He wouldn't just go and follow her for nothing. I can't believe how he ended the interview. Walton said, what the F, Ed? Come on, buddy. Wow. And then he left the room. He was not going to be talking about Miss Amy Lou. Amy Lou played Walton's girlfriend in season 3 of The White Lotus, and rumors have swirled about chemistry between the two actors souring at the end of filming, possibly after a workplace fling gone south.
After season 3 of The White Lotus, he posted this very long Instagram carousel dedicated to the two of them, posted to Fleetwood Mac's Silver Springs, which is about heartbreak and infidelity. So people started saying, like, holy shit, were they actually doing stuff? And it wasn't just their characters, allegedly. I'm just saying, I'm just giving you the information here. Which then started bringing out the eagle-eyed fans, and they noticed that you couldn't see Amy Lou Wood's comments on Walton Gogggins' posts anymore. And just if people unfollow one another, you could still see their public posts. But when you block someone on social media, so then people started saying, holy shit, did he block her on Instagram? In the press, as the season was airing, Walton Gogggins would say that Amy Lou Wood was his soulmate and she was a very special person. To go from that to potentially that.
Now, and of course, their feud escalated when SNL did a little skit and made fun of Amy Lou and her teeth, which she did not like, yet Walton praised it on social media, acting pretty shady. Your co-star doesn't like this skit and you say it's amazing. In February, Walton said about Amy, she was the person that mattered to me the most during this experience. Even though my friends were there, we both became enmeshed in each other in the way that Rick and Chelsea are. I think the world of her. So a way different tone back in February than now in May. So something definitely went down.
Amy Lou and I became very, very close, over the making of this. I love her. I adore her as a human being. This relationship between these two people that I will take with me, it's the one thing that will continue to live on in my experience of this show.
Ali Smith commented, the way that he said I love her had feelings. Damn. Let's get into Sky Jackson. Sky Jackson is an absolute mess, or at least her love life is, because her boyfriend, Yerky, I believe that's how he goes by on social media, he was arrested for the second time in 6 months. So his real name is DeAndre Burgeon, and he's back behind bars again. He was arrested in Kentucky, of all places, for an outstanding warrant. It looks like this is our updated mugshot. Aw, I don't know what he's going through, but he needs to get his act together. It looks like he was spotted at a local gas station, and that's what led to his arrest, which is wild, because how much of a criminal do you need to be that if you're just out in public, someone knows who you are, spots you, and then calls the police on you? Oh gosh, the officer recognized him because he is listed on the National Crime Information Center database. His outstanding warrant has been issued by authorities in Ohio after he failed to show up to a court hearing and his alleged alleged failure to display his car license plates. The internet personality, who also goes by Yerky Yerky, reportedly fell fleeing the first time he got arrested, and he cut his left cheek. He was cited for misdemeanor obstruction of official business, because you can't run away from the police. Like, that's going to give you even more charges. Have we not seen cops before? In January, it was revealed that Sky Jackson welcomed her child with Mr. Yerky Yerky, and it looks like the dad missed the birth because he was incarcerated. In a really disturbing and cringe Instagram live stream, you see this guy in the bottom of the screen talk about how he wants to get famous or rich, and how he wants to get, Zendaya pregnant so that he could go and gain from her wealth. And the way that he speaks about Sky Jackson, calling her like some Disney B word, and essentially talking about how he manipulated and used her and got her pregnant, it's really sick. And I can't imagine Sky Jackson wanting to be around this man after seeing clips like these.
Cuz you kind of look like me, but I got a question, cuz. How do I be a famous pregnant, cuz?
Gotta keep it P, man.
That's all I gotta do.
Yeah, keep it P. Be that.
I get Zendaya, cuz.
You try to get Zendaya?
Yeah. She works. Can you put in a word for me, cuz?
This comment reads, "Wow, I'm so embarrassed for Sky, man." Another comment writes, "Why did she do this to herself?" Let's get into Alec Baldwin. I just want to mention Alec Baldwin, the alleged unaliver. You guys know what happened on the set of Rust. Well, the director Joel actually says he wished he never made this movie in the first place. Joel, who was accidentally shot by Alec Baldwin in the 2021 shooting that also killed cinematographer Helena Hutchins, said he rejected the thought of returning to Rust after his hospitalization, but the idea grew on him, especially knowing that Helena's family wanted to see the film finished. Joel reflected on the morning of the tragedy to The Guardian, saying that it was a domino effect of bad decisions, one after another, and he wishes that he never went back to the Rust shooting set. He wishes he'd never even written it. So he probably is so sad that he went and tried to finish in Helena's honor, because everything just kept messing up. When it comes to Alec, Joel explained that they haven't talked since the shooting. They're not enemies or friends, but zero contact, which is awkward. Now, we know the Baldwins have a new show on TLC, which gives them plenty of time to talk about themselves. Alec Baldwin actually said that he was really depressed after this shooting, which makes sense. He didn't know how to live with himself. Ilaria, his wife, says that Alec wishes he was the one that died that day. She says the incident is still taking a toll on his mental and physical health. Alec's wife says he's been hospitalized multiple times, suffers from heart problems, and has fainted multiple times as a result of his guilt. Honestly, that's probably the most real thing I've ever heard these two share before, and at least it shows that he's human, that he does feel guilt for what he had done, because I don't know how I would live with myself either. Let's get into Russell Brand. Russell was in a London courtroom Friday to face multiple charges, and after a short back and forth with the judge, he walked out of the building a free man for now. The actor's 14-minute court appearance was a simple answering of a bunch of questions from the judge. Russell is being charged with one count of R-word, another count of assault, an oral R-word, and 2 counts of assault. A lot of things, a lot of charges that happened between the years of, I believe, 1999 through 2005. A third woman is accusing him of fondling her, touching her body, kissing her without consent. A fourth woman alleges the star tried to attempt to force her into a bathroom. Now, what's spooky about Russell Brand is that there's so many old clips and old statements that he has said in the past, which make him kind of look guilty. Like him admitting that he was addicted to substances and getting intimate and being an imbecile. Especially during the years that he would have been doing these kind of crimes.
I was a fool, man. I was a fool before I lived in the light of the Lord. I was a drug addict, and an imbecile. But what I never was I've never engaged in non-consensual activity. I pray that you can see that by looking in my eyes. And of course, I'm now going to have the opportunity to defend these charges in court, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. In the meantime, you lot, stay free.
This comment reads, he's hiding behind his family and Christianity. He totally did it. Another person added, 100% guilty. You can see it in his eyes. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Let's Get Into It podcast. Let me know what you guys want me to talk about next week. There are so many things that are going to be happening this week. So many hot topics. So make sure you check out my main channel and check out this one in a week from now, because we will be here every Wednesday. Thank you again for supporting Let's Get Into It podcast, and I'll see you in next week's episode. Bye, guys.
Thank you.